guys, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge. We're going to look at this knife today, and just before I get into that, I wanted to let you know that I am on my own this weekend, or a week. I'm going to be on my own for 3 or 4 days. My daughter and my wife went off to Tacoma, Washington. They're not quite there yet, at least when I'm recording this. By the time you watch this, they should be there. But my daughter has a dog, and I'm babysitting that dog, or dog sitting that dog and my dog. And with my limitations because of my disability and stuff, it's just overwhelming how much energy it drains from me. So I won't be producing a lot of videos this next few days. One thing I want to say about the LK5016 from YStart is it's got a sibling. This is the JIN01 by YStart, and the blade shape is almost identical, and the handle shape is almost identical. Very, very close. Like they're the same size knife. They look the same. They get the same kind of treatment for the lanyard hole. They get the same kind of treatment for the handle scales for the G10, and same kind of jimping on the back of the liners and everything. There's a few differences, of course, but the YStart JIN02 from a couple years ago, they claimed that it was D2 steel. I don't believe it is D2, but the LK5016 says it's 440C. So let's see if it's 440C. Hint, I think it just might be. So here's this video. I got 2 of these knives. Unfortunately, I miscommunicated somewhere or kept bad records. And so I got one of these sent to me by a vendor on AliExpress. That's YStart Industrial and Trading. He sent me some YStart knives, but he didn't tell me, or I lost track of exactly which knives he was going to send me. And so I also spoke to my GearBest rep, and I gave her a long list of knives to choose from to send me. And so they both sent me the exact same knife, like the same color G10 and everything. So I've got a second one here that I've taken apart to show you the insides, and this one to show you the outsides. But I'll have links down below for both of those vendors. You pick and choose which one you want to buy from. No skin off my back, but unfortunately, it's not totally fair to these vendors, but it is what it is. And so I decided to make my video this way to promote both of them. So stay tuned for the full review of the LK5016 coming at you right now. Okay, so here we are. They call this frog green. Some places call this G10 color a jade, or even a clear translucent. Certainly not clear. It is, you can't see through it. But that's the G10. You can also get it in an orange and in a black. And I'll show you a picture of all 3 right now. So here's the knife. It says YStart right on the blade right there. And on this side right here on the ricasso, it says 440C. So that's kind of good. You've got the hole here, and it's actually chamfered on the edges. There's nothing sharp here on this hole at all. We've got, I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here. We've got this jimping here. It's more like waves on the back of the spine of the blade, and on the liners here, you got that same kind of wave thing going on. And here's your lanyard hole, and they've got a nice hole through just the liners, and the G10's cleared out of the way. So when you tie on a liner, it stays, it doesn't get all bulky outside the side of the knife. Here's your pocket clip, and you can hopefully just barely see through the translucence there. There's a couple screws there. So it folds over and comes in and screws into the liner. You have to take the handle all the way apart to take the pocket clip off. But there's no reason to take the pocket clip off because it is right side only. It can't go onto the other side at all. They would need to fold a different one that would bend a different direction because of this angle here. Okay, so you've got your Torx screws here, and these Y screws, or P screw, whatever you want to call it, P symbol. Those screws are there. You can just use a flat screwdriver to take those out. It's a locking pivot screw, so it doesn't freely spin, which set me a little bit of an issue because they look identical. And some of the other knives like this are free spinning. I tried turning the one side and it just wouldn't go, and I just felt it was just locked up. Finally, before I wrecked anything, I decided to try the other side, and it came apart just fine. So the first con is I wish they'd mark one side, just make it just make it smooth steel with nothing on it. Sort of like they did here with the JIN01. Notice that there's nothing there. It's just a pivot screw. And then your screw head is on this side. So I wish they would have done that on this guy. Now you can also see on the JIN, you've got finished screws. They're Torx. These I think are T6. These guys are T8s, I believe. I didn't double check before I started the video. The liners are kind of nice and skeletonized. It's an open pillar construction, so you got two pillars back here. And it's got an lock pin that's hidden, so it rides inside the blade, and I'll show you that. And you've got ball bearings. So let's take a look at the details of all the different parts. Okay, so here's the pocket clip. And yeah, the way it's bent over comes in that way. And it only screws in on this one spot right here. Where's the focus? There it is. So screws in on that side, and that's all you get. So on this side, there's no skeletonizing except for this hole right here. They've done an interesting thing is they've joined a number of the different holes together with a line. And I don't know if that is just to make it quick and easier for to do the CNC wire EDM cutting. I think that's the technology they use to cut this out. Or if that's supposed to be stronger so that it doesn't have as many weak points or develop stress fractures. I'm not sure about that. But here on the liner, you can see that the thumb release, they've got just a little bit of a cutout right there. Let's see if I'm going to come a little closer. There we go. They've just got a little bit of a cutout there for you to push your thumb against to move it. You can see in this hole here, if I get the light just right, that it's D-shaped. That's what stops the free spinning pivot from spinning around. And then this hole, that's where the stop pin sits. And the stop pin actually is this piece of steel right here. And it goes in the blade right like that. And it just sits there. I've seen a lot of stop pins that are sort of one piece with the knife, or they're epoxied in place or something, but it sits in there. And then as it slides through here, through there, it stops on either end and acts as a stopper. So that's, interesting, simple technology, and it just works very, very well. And so that's that. By the way, you've got a really nice sharpener's choil right here. I like that. You've got some nice jimping on the flipper tab. Just a little bit, but it's just enough to be effective. And the other side liner has got a whole bunch of holes in it. And again, they joined them together. That might have been just for ease, but that's for weight loss. And this knife is a full ounce lighter than this knife, even though it's also got a pocket clip. So more steel, flipper tab, and still lighter. So that's kind of nice. And here you can see that wave texture on the back of the handle a little bit better. And there's the lanyard hole right there. So that's how it's made. Now your ball bearings, they are steel ball bearings on a nylon or some kind of plastic holder that holds them in place. So that's quite nice. There are 8 ball bearings in there. They work quite well. The steel detent ball right there, works effectively as well. Good detent on both of these. So there you go. That's how that is. And here's the handles. Nice G10. And you can maybe see on the end this way, the radius, that it has a nice curve. It's nice, well polished, feels really good in the hand. I like this knife quite a lot. So let's talk about the dimensions now. We've got a cutting edge and blade length are the same. 9.69 centimeters, 3.81 inches, so almost a 4-inch blade. The blade thickness right here is 3.6 millimeters. That's 0.1415 inches, so a thick blade to start with. But this full flat grind, because of how far it is this way, leads to a nice thin edge, great slicing knife. The blade depth, as I was just talking about, is 2.64 centimeters. That's 1.04 inches. So it's a good taper length to go from, 3.6 millimeters down to the cutting edge over the course of an inch. So very good for that. And as you get closer to the tip, the steel starts tapering right about here, and then it tapers down to the point. The thickness of the edge behind the grind is 0.44 millimeters. For a knife like this, I'm usually wanting it to be around 0.5 millimeter, so it's even narrower than expected. That's 0.017 inches. The grind angle, not quite as good as I want it to be. It's 24.6 on one side and 26.3 on the other side. So if this is the edge of the steel, if I'm looking at it like this, standing up like this, it's more like this than I want it to be. I'd rather have it to be a little more narrow. 24 and 26 when it should be 20 and 20. That's just my goal. 20 and 20 for an EDC knife like this would be awesome. So the one that I've resharpened, this guy, is now 20 and 20. And I did my edge retention testing on it with the equipment that I have. And yeah, it behaves a lot like 440C for the edge retention. So there's a good chance this is genuine 440C stainless steel on here, which is a good thing. Now let's go on to the handle. Handle depth is 12.38 centimeters. That's 4.87 inches. So under 5, just under 4, not bad. The handle thickness, where the pocket clip is not, is 1.64 centimeters. That's 0.646 inches. So a lot of knives are right around 1/2 of an inch. This one's a little bit thicker, but because it's rounded like this, it's only about half at the belly and at the spine of the handle. So yeah, very comfortable. The handle depth, that's this way, is around 2.46 centimeters, 0.97 of an inch. The knife depth when it's closed is 3.09 centimeters. That's 1.22 inches. The total length when the blade is deployed is 22 centimeters, which is 8.66 inches. It weighs 140 grams, which is 4.95 ounces. So you got a 5-ounce knife. It's very comfortable. A reverse grip uses this angle very well. So left or right hand, very comfortable. A pinch grip, you pinch with your thumb and your index or in your middle finger, or you pinch grip this way, whichever way you want, is quite good. Being this thicker spine, it's really good control with your index finger up on the spine of the blade if you want to do some more delicate cutting. Even though it's almost 4 inches, that works well. Your regular, fist grip, just hammer grip, very well. Very usable knife. How much does this knife cost? Well, it depends on where you go shopping, but roughly it's around 20 US dollars, around 25 Canadian dollars, a little over 18 euros, and right around 16 British pounds. The prices change and they're variable up and down. Down below, I've got links both to that AliExpress store, the Y-Start Industrial and Trading store. It's a store that's been around for at least 2 years already, so it's not just some guy who set up shop for a couple months and is shipping out garbage and taking off. No, he's been there 2 years and he's got really good ratings, really good reviews, and that's why I decided to work with him. Or you can get it at GearBest, and I've got links down below for that as well. By the way, if you've got the GearBest app, like if you're on a cell phone, install the GearBest app first before you click the link that has the word app beside it. Then the app will open up a browser, and on the top right-hand corner of the browser, there'll be a button that says Open App. It's usually an orange button with white lettering, Open App, and then it'll actually open up your app. And if you use my links that way, then I will get a tiny bit of a credit. So, features on this. It's got a good drop point right here, good blade shape, great for slicing. No blade play, side to side, up and down. No problem there. Nice action with those ball bearings. Lockup is solid and beautiful, just like it should be. And when it's closed, the blade is very close to being perfectly centered. That's a good thing. The grip on it's very good. I mentioned that. The lanyard hole placement's very good. It's not that hard to clean. The pocket clip, well, it sits quite deep. Let me show you that. You slide it in, and because you've got the curve up, it slides on there just fine. And it wants to sweep forward a little bit because of the way it rests there, but not much. And there it is. It's hiding very well in your pocket. Nobody would know you've got a knife that's, over 8.5 inches long, 8.6 inches in total. 3.8 inch blade. They just don't know you've got something that big in your pocket. And that's pretty good. It's easy to use. The light switch method works very well to deploy the blade. You just employ that jimping a little bit and flip it back, no problem. You can push straight down because the thumb flipper is just a little, or flipper, not thumb flipper. The flipper is just a little bit back from the center point. So if you push straight down, eventually it's going to pop. But just a slight movement towards the back of the handle, and then it works very, very well. I mentioned this jimping here. It looks kind of odd because you're not used to seeing that kind of jimping, but it actually is a little bit effective, and it's certainly not hard on the hand. It doesn't become hot in the hand or anything like that. All the edges are chamfered. You can even see it here in the liner. That edge is chamfered, both edges. The liner sits a little bit proud of the G10. Some people really like that. And then all the edges are nicely softened and very comfortable, except for that one. That one's a little sharp. So there you go. Now, the only thing I wish they would have done differently is, like I said before, well, not the only thing. The main thing is I wish they would have left the screw that doesn't turn just flat. And I really would have liked to see a left and right hand pocket clip option. When you've got a flipper, you're already making it very ambidextrous. And so why not go all the way and make a pocket clip for the other side as well? Even if you just include it in the package and give the person the option to install it themselves, yeah, there'd be a little bit of mark in the G10 here, big deal. But that would have been a good thing to add. So there you go. This is the knife. Full flat grind blade, nothing to catch on it when you're slicing through. Like sometimes thumb studs get in the way. No problem with that here. Even with the original JIN01, they put the thumb stud far enough back that it doesn't really get caught on food when you're slicing through it, unless you're right here at this edge, but not a big deal at all. I am not going to try to see if I can put this G10 on here, because notice here there's no second hole, whereas this one's got 2 holes back there. So they're certainly very similar, but they're not the same knife. And, I do like thumb stud knives. I would just really like this one with a pocket clip. But when I first made the video for this, I was fine without a pocket clip, and I still am. I carry this knife every once in a while still. I do like thumb studs. So there you go. That's the video of the Y-Start LK5016. And if you're interested in getting these, go ahead and please use my links down below. Otherwise, just thanks for watching. Please be patient for the next video to come out. I'm not sure exactly when it will be, but when it is, it'll be ready for you. Of course. So thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember, guys, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.